So good morning friends, this is my next lecture on GOC and today we are going to discuss the most important concept as far as organic chemistry is concerned, that is the nomenclature. It is a nomenclature. What is the basicity of this nomenclature concept? Now, if you consider the organic molecules or compounds, there are huge number of organic molecules, and the separate study of all these molecules, isn't it, or separate naming of all the molecules is quite difficult. Rather than difficult, it is highly impossible, isn't it? Because billions or trillions are there molecules, isn't it? So there is a one set of rules are there, and by means of which one can give the name to any kind of compounds. It may be double bonded compound, triple bonded compound, single bonded compound. Maybe ring contains or not. Maybe functional group or not. May contains multiple functional group, means more than one functional group, isn't it? Maybe bicyclic compound, maybe spiro compounds. All these compounds can be nomenclated. So for the purpose, some basic concept you have to know. Basic concept you have to know. Now see, the nomenclature of all the compound consists of 5 basic components. Nomenclature of all the compounds consists of 5 basic components, and if we go the sequentially through these 5 components, one can give the name. One can give the name to any organic compound. It's very easy task for that particular student to nomenclate the organic compound, isn't it? Now, for example, these 5 components are, see here, that is the uh, secondary prefix, plus primary prefix, plus word root plus primary suffix plus secondary suffix. So by means of these 5 components and in sequential order, if we go through these 5 components, then it is very easy to nomenclate any type of organic compounds, but the sequence is very important here. Okay. Now each one concept or each one component in this we'll call as a capsule of nomenclature. It indicates one meaningful concept is there in each one, isn't it? Now if you consider first one, that is a secondary prefix. Now as far as secondary prefix is concerned, what it gives the information or what it tells, that one, it gives or it tells about the nature and position of substituents present in organic molecule. organic molecule मध्ये किंवा कंपाऊंड मध्ये सबस्टिट्युएंट्स काय आहेत आणि त्याचा नंबर काय आहे आणि तो कुठल्या प्रकारचा सबस्टिट्युएंट आहे. This is all is considered under secondary prefix one, isn't it? Now how to identify substituents in organic molecules? To identify substituent, now see here, just if you consider an example like this, isn't it? Now when molecules are given, maybe in the bond line structure or directly in the form CH3 CH2 in this way, isn't it? So don't matter, just first encircle that whole molecule. Okay, encircle the whole molecule by selecting longest continuous chain, and during encircling that whole molecule, if you observe the any cut is present in that molecule or not, isn't it? If there is a no any cut is observed, there is no any branch is observed one, then we saw that there is a no any substituent in that organic molecule, isn't it? So just see here, if I encircle this molecule like this, then during that one there is a no any cut is observed in the molecule. So as there is no any cut in the molecule, so there is a no substituent, in the sense there is a no substituent, and that's why secondary prefix is आपण omit करणार, because there is no substituent, isn't it? If you consider one more example like this, if you consider example, now by selecting longest continuous carbon chain, if you encircle the molecule, then during encircling molecule, one cut is observed here, one branch is observed here, isn't it? So as one cut or branch is observed, in the sense this is the substituent, this is the substituent, substituent. Where, remember, well, this is a substituent one. And if you numbered from 1 to 3, 1 to 3, from any position if you numbered 1, it becomes 3 positions. So its position is 3 and this is substituent. This is substituent. So take one more example. Suppose like this. Chlorine, and suppose CH3. If you circle the ring, then there is a 2 substituents are there. 2 substituents are there, isn't it? Like this substituent you may identify one. Remember well, the functional group, mostly in case of monofunctional organic compound. In case of monofunctional organic molecule, मोनोफंक्शनल ऑर्गॅनिक मॉलिक्यूल इन द सेन्स असे मॉलिक्यूल्स की ज्या मॉलिक्यूल्समध्ये एक आणि एकच फंक्शनल ग्रुप आहे. In such a monofunctional organic molecule, that functional group is never considered as a secondary prefix. Functional group never considered the secondary prefix, isn't it? Means if you consider like this molecule, structure like this suppose, and here suppose OH, here it is OH. This OH is the functional group. OH is the functional group, alcoholic. So in this case, if you observe the cut here, but this OH is not considered as a substituent, means don't consider this OH as a secondary prefix one, because it is functional group. It is functional group one. So functional group in monofunctional organic compound is not considered as a secondary prefix. Instead of that, it is secondary suffix is there. Instead of that, it is secondary suffix. We will discuss after some time, isn't it? But in case of monofunctional organic compounds, isn't it? But in case of polyfunctional organic compounds, polyfunctional organic compounds, जर polyfunctional organic compound असेल, that polyfunctional organic compound means the molecular compound which contains more than one functional group in that molecule. Then in that case we have to consider the priority order and all these things. Priority order, what is the functional group priority order, we will discuss later on. So just concentrate here, just primary, secondary prefix, substituent, isn't it? Okay. Then after that, primary prefix. Now see here, primary prefix. As far as primary prefix is concerned, this primary prefix gives us the information regarding it is the cyclic or acyclic nature of organic compound. जो ऑर्गॅनिक कंपाऊंड आहे तो सायक्लिक आहे का असायक्लिक आहे याची इन्फॉर्मेशन आपल्याला प्रायमरी प्रिफिक्समध्ये मिळू शकते, त्या नावावरून किंवा त्या स्ट्रक्चरवरून. सो इफ द ऑर्गॅनिक कंपाऊंड इज सायक्लिक इन नेचर, देन वर्ड सायक्लो इज यूज्ड ॲज अ प्रायमरी प्रिफिक्स इन दॅट name of that organic compound, or giving the name of organic compound, word cyclo is used. And if the compound is acyclic in nature, then just omit or just drop the primary prefix and go to the next compound, that is a word root. When they are acyclic, there is no necessity of primary prefix. Omit that primary prefix, just secondary prefix, word root. But if it is cyclic, then after secondary prefix, primary prefix, cyclo word, and then next compound, word root, isn't it? So just consider like this. If you consider the structure like this, then it is acyclic. So as it is acyclic, there is a just primary prefix here. There is no any primary prefix, isn't it? But if the structure is like this, then it is cyclic in nature. So it is cyclo is the primary prefix. So the structure is like this. Then it is cyclo word is used as a primary prefix. Remember well, the number of ring may be whatever may be, even simple 3 remembered ring also, then even cyclo word is there, as a primary prefix. So remember well, if ring structure, word cyclo is used, and if there is no ring structure, straight chain carbon, there is no any necessity to mention the primary prefix, isn't it? Just omit primary prefix and next component. Now next component is the word root, and in the word root, here in word root, what is the meaning of word root? So word root is the means it is the longest continuous carbon chain, including functional group, multiple bonds and substituents. and substituents at minimum position. At minimum position. हे सगळे कसे पाहिजेत? मिनिमम पोझिशनला पाहिजे. त्याला म्हणायचं वर्ड रूट. सो वर्ड रूट इज द लॉंगेस्ट कंटिन्युअस कार्बन चेन इन्क्लुडिंग फंक्शनल ग्रुप, मल्टिपल बॉन्ड अँड सबस्टिट्युएंट्स ॲट मिनिमम पोझिशन. ॲट मिनिमम पोझिशन. म्हणजे जर एखाद्या मॉलिक्यूलमध्ये फंक्शनल ग्रुप असेल तर फंक्शनल ग्रुप ज्या कार्बनला अटॅच आहे तो कार्बन कसायला पाहिजे? मिनिमम नंबर. इट मस्ट बी मिनिमम नंबर. जर एखाद्या कार्बनमध्ये डबल बॉन्ड असेल किंवा ट्रिपल बॉन्ड असेल तर डबल बॉन्डेड कार्बन किंवा ट्रिपल बॉन्डेड कार्बन जे आहे दे मस्ट गॉट मिनिमम नंबर्स. अँड इफ एनी कार्बन मॉलिक्यूल contains substituent, then that substituent also minimum number, isn't it? But suppose if all the three are present in one molecule, म्हणजे एखाद्या मॉलिक्यूलमध्ये फंक्शनल ग्रुप पण आहे, मल्टिपल बॉन्ड पण आहे आणि सबस्टिट्यूएंट पण आहे, देन द प्रियॉरिटी ऑर्डर इज कन्सिडर्ड दॅट द फंक्शनल ग्रुप इज फर्स्ट प्रियॉरिटी ऑर्डर, देन मल्टिपल बॉन्ड अँड देन सबस्टिट्यूएंट अँड देन सबस्टिट्यूएंट्स. म्हणजे सगळ्यात पहिल्यांदा मिनिमम नंबर सगळ्यात पहिला कोणाला देणार? फंक्शनल ग्रुपला. त्याच्यानंतर नेक्स्ट हायर नंबर मल्टिपल बॉन्ड, त्याच्यानंतर नेक्स्ट हायर सबस्टिट्यूएंट. इफ all that three are present in the organic compounds, organic molecules. This about the primary, secondary prefix झालं, primary prefix झालं. Then word root is also completed. Commonly word root जे असतात ते depend upon number of carbon. Means suppose if carbon number 1 is there, then meth is used. Carbon number 2 is there, eth is used. Carbon number 3, prop is used, isn't it? Carbon number 4, but is used, isn't it? So on. Carbon number 5, pent. Carbon number 6, hex. Carbon number 7, hept. Carbon number 8, oct. Carbon number 9, it is non. And if carbon containing 10 carbon chain in the molecule, then it is dec. In this way, that is the word root is used. Okay. Then primary suffix. Next part. This is the primary suffix. So as far as primary suffix is concerned, this primary suffix gives us the information regarding the saturated or unsaturated compound, nature of compound. म्हणजे तो ऑर्गॅनिक मॉलिक्यूल जो आहे तो सॅच्युरेटेड काय अनसॅच्युरेटेड आहे, तो सॅच्युरेटेड आहे का अनसॅच्युरेटेड आहे. म्हणजे सिम्पली इफ द ऑर्गॅनिक मॉलिक्यूल word root, that is longest carbon chain, contains all carbon dash carbon single bond, then word root is ANE is used. Word root ANE is used. If it contains carbon double bond carbon, then word root ENE is used. And if it contains carbon triple bond carbon, then YNE is used as a ending or as a word root. Sorry, primary suffix. Remember, means word root मध्ये longest carbon chain मध्ये carbon dash carbon single असेल तर ANE असा प्रायमरी सफिक्स येणार. कार्बन कार्बन डबल बॉन्ड असेल ENE येणार आणि कार्बन डॅश कार्बन ट्रिपल असेल तर YNE येणार ॲज अ प्रायमरी सफिक्स. isn't it? Then after that, there is a last bit of this component, that is the secondary prefix. So secondary suffix. Now as far as secondary suffix is concerned, this secondary suffix means it gives the information regarding the functional group present in that molecule. Just I have told you already that if in a compound containing only one functional group, only one FG, एक आणि एकच functional group असेल तर that functional group never be considered as a substituent. It never be considered as a substituent म्हणून never be considered करायचं नाही. It is always considered as a secondary suffix. बरोबर का? सेकंडरी प्रिफिक्स म्हणून फंक्शनल ग्रुपला कधीच ट्रीट करायचं नाही इन केस ऑफ मोनोफंक्शनल कंपाऊंड्स. बट इफ कंपाऊंड्स कंटेनिंग पॉलीफंक्शनल ग्रुप्स आर देअर, पॉलीफंक्शनल कंपाऊंड्स म्हणजे फंक्शनल ग्रुप एकपेक्षा जास्त असेल तर अशा कंपाऊंडमध्ये वी हॅव टू कन्सिडर द प्रियॉरिटी ऑर्डर मस्ट बी टेकन इन टू कन्सिडरेशन. प्रियॉरिटी ऑर्डर ऑफ फंक्शनल ग्रुप एक प्रियॉरिटी ऑर्डर आहे. त्या प्रियॉरिटी ऑर्डरवरून हायर प्रियॉरिटी असणारा फंक्शनल ग्रुप जो आहे, हायर प्रियॉरिटी असणारा फंक्शनल ग्रुप ऑलवेज कन्सिडर्ड एज अ सेकंडरी सफिक्स, हायर प्रियॉरिटी. आणि त्या ऑर्डरप्रमाणे लोअर प्रियॉरिटी असणारा एखादा फंक्शनल ग्रुप असेल त्याच मॉलिक्यूलमध्ये, इट इज ऑलवेज कन्सिडर्ड एज अ सेकंडरी प्रिफिक्स. So if the molecule contains two functional groups, then check these two functional groups in the priority order. If one functional group is at the high priority, then that functional group has a secondary suffix, means main functional group. And if the other functional group is at the low priority, then it is considered as a secondary prefix, means substituent, means substituents one, isn't it? So remember well, this is about secondary suffix one. So naming the organic compound consists of these 5 components, but in sequential order. But in sequential order means if you mismatch or if you change the positions of this order one, means primary prefix, then secondary, then in this way mismatch the positions one, then the name of that organic compound is 100% wrong. 100% wrong one. So don't that is change the sequence. Through this sequence, if you name the organic compound, may I think there is a nothing is wrong about that organic naming of that organic compound. So organic compound, you can name any type of organic compounds. You can name any type of organic compounds, isn't it? Just if you take an example, suppose like this. Okay, example here. Okay, now in this case, just first take secondary prefix, means substituent. Yes, if you encircle, there is no any cut, so secondary prefix is just omit secondary prefix. Secondary prefix, primary prefix. Primary prefix, it is cyclic or acyclic? Acyclic. So no word is necessary to use acyclic. No. Word root, there is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5. 5 carbon atom is there. So word pent is used as a word root for 5 carbon atom. And primary suffix, all carbon atoms are single. So ane, and there is no functional group. So secondary suffix also drop. So it is pentane is the name of organic compound. Pentane is the name of organic compound. If you consider like this, okay. Now in this case, the secondary prefix, if you encircle this one, then there is no any substituent, in the sense secondary prefix is there. Primary prefix, yes, the compound is cyclic in nature. So as cyclic in nature, so word cyclo is used. Word root, just count the number of atoms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6-membered ring is, so hex is there. And word root. And primary suffix as far as concerned, all are carbon single bond, so ane is there. And secondary suffix, no functional group. So name of the organic compound is cyclohexane. Isn't it? So if you consider like this, one more structure, like this, isn't it? So in this case, if you numbered or just encircle the molecule, then there is a one cut is observed here. So number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then here at 2 position there is a methyl group is there. So secondary prefix is there. That is the 2-methyl. Isn't it? Primary prefix, in the sense it is acyclic in nature. So not necessary to word. Word root, 5 carbon atoms. So pent. 5 carbon atoms. So pent. Primary suffix, all our carbon are single bonded. So ane. And secondary suffix, no functional group. So name of organic compound is 2-methyl pentane. Is there. Okay, so in this way we can name. Actually, these are the simple molecules. Where step by step we are going to the complex molecules, isn't it? It means larger molecules containing functional groups and so on. Now, mostly one point just I would like to tell once again here. In as far as secondary prefix is concerned, most commonly used secondary prefix are chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine, NO2, NO, OR, isn't it? Like this, R, etc. These are the most commonly used secondary prefix. They are mostly involved in organic compounds. If chlorine is there, then word chloro is used. If bromine, word bromo is used. Iodine, iodo is used. Fluorine, fluoro is used. NO2, nitro is used. NO, nitroso is used. OR, alkoxy is used. And AR only alkyl is used. Okay, so these are the secondary prefixes which are most commonly occurred in organic molecules, isn't it? Okay. Then, if you consider the secondary suffix, okay, something about secondary suffix extra. Secondary suffix, this secondary suffix means molecules containing multiple functional groups. So multiple functional groups जर असतील पॉलीफंक्शनल कंपाउंड्स तर त्याच्यामध्ये काय होणार आहे, एक फंक्शनल ग्रुप मेन फंक्शनल ग्रुप पण येणार आहे, दुसरा काय येणार आहे, देयर इज द सबस्टिट्यूएंट. मग कोणता मेन असणार आणि कोणता सबस्टिट्यूएंट म्हणून असणार, दॅट कॅन बी डिसाइडेड फ्रॉम priority order of functional groups. So the priority order of functional groups can be considered here. That is the functional group, it is secondary prefix, and here secondary suffix. Okay. Now if you consider the first functional group, that is the dash C double bond O, or just write C double OH, then SO3H, then C double OR ester, CONH2 acid, COX, then CONH2 nitrile, cyanide, aldehyde, okay, ketone, and lastly NH2. So this is the priority order. Most commonly occurred functional groups. Then what is the name of secondary prefix? When COH as a secondary prefix, म्हणजे substituent म्हणून ज्यावेळी येईल त्यावेळी it is named as carboxyl. When SO3H is a secondary prefix means substituent, it is named as sulfo. When ester is as a secondary prefix, then two types of secondary prefixes there for ester. If dash C, this I will write here, sulfo, and then if dash C double bond O dash OR and O dash C double bond OR, like this. Okay, means if in ester case, if this carbon is attached to main skeleton, here oxygen attached to main skeleton, this व्हॅलन्स जी आपण एम्प्टी सोडलेली आहे इट इज मेन स्केलेटन आहे. जर मेन स्केलेटन टच असेल तर हा COO कार्बन येईल, हा तुमचा काय झाला मेन सबस्टिट्युएंट, अँड OR साईड सबस्टिट्युएंट. सो नेम ऑफ साईड सबस्टिट्युएंट प्लस अल्कॉक्सी कार्बोनिल, अल्कॉक्सी कार्बोनिल. हियर देयर इज द होल, this is the side substituent, this is the main substituent, so it is alkanoil and oxy, alkanoil oxy as the name of the compound when primary prefix, when ester is there, okay. Then when acid halide is there, acid halide is used as a, that is the what we call as a secondary prefix. Then in case of acid halide it is halocarbonyl. For CONH2, that is the amide, it is the carbamoil. For CN it is cyano. For CHO it is either formyl or oxo. For ketonic it is compulsory oxo, and for NH2 it is amino. Okay, for NH2 it is amino is used on. Okay, for NH2 amino is used on. So it is the secondary prefixes one. When as far as a secondary suffix is concerned, the secondary suffix now name is given. See, if it is carbon is present as secondary suffix, then it is ending as oic acid. When sulfur is present as secondary suffix, it is ended as sulfonic acid. When ester is present as a secondary suffix, main functional group, its end is O18. When acid halide, okay, is present as a secondary suffix and its ending is oil halide, isn't it? When CONH2 as a present as a secondary suffix, then it is ending is amide, When cyano is present in CN, it is ending is nitrile. Okay, nitrile. When CHO as a aldehyde is present as a secondary suffix, then its ending is al. And when ketone is present, its ending is on. And for aldehyde, its ending is amino, it is amine. So this is the table, that the priority order of the functional group. When these functional groups comes as a secondary prefix, means as a substituent, then what we call them as a name. And when the same functional group comes as a secondary suffix as a main functional group, then what we call them as. Okay, so each one we are going to discuss one by one. What is the nomenclature and what are the tricks to give the name to that molecule after some time. Okay, or next lecture. Just one more point I would like to tell you. In this case, that the substituents are of two types. Substituents are of two types. One, that is the simple substituent, and second one, that is the complex substituent. Now both can be explained, simple and complex substituent, by taking an example. Now see, if you consider the structure like this, isn't it? Okay. And suppose here one structure like this. Okay, here one structure I will give like this. So not necessary to just give the name, just first know about the substituents are of two types, simple and complex substituent, isn't it? Now if you consider this cyclohexane ring, then at this position there is a one substituent is there. Okay, one substituent is there, and in this substituent there is a methyl substituent here. There is a methyl substituent one, isn't it? Methyl substituent is there. So whenever from main carbon skeleton, whenever one hydrogen atom is replaced and only one substituent is placed, isn't it? And if there is a no further substituent is present on that substituent, ह्या substituent वरती परत पुढचे substituent आहेत का? नाही. Then such substituents are considered as a simple substituent. One. But if you consider at this point, see, this is the actually first. Just consider here carbon, okay, carbon and two substituents are there. So actually hydrogen is there, 1, 2, 3, 4, isn't it? Like this one. So actually initially it is, yes, CH2, and here like this, here CH3, isn't it? But in this case, just I will write here C and these two carbon atoms, and here hydrogen atom is there. So in this case, मेन कार्बनवरचा हायड्रोजन रिप्लेस करून हा सबस्टिट्यूएंट आला, दिस कार्बन, पण ह्या कार्बनवरचे दोन हायड्रोजन रिप्लेस करून परत दोन सबस्टिट्यूएंट आले, म्हणजे सबस्टिट्यूएंटवरती परत सबस्टिट्यूएंट आहे. सो दिस टाइप ऑफ सबस्टिट्यूएंट्स आर ट्रीटेड ॲज कॉम्प्लेक्स सबस्टिट्यूएंट. Okay, this type of substituents are treated as complex substituent one. So this is the point. Just I would like to tell you, simple substituent मेन चेनवरचा हायड्रोजन रिप्लेस करून सबस्टिट्यूएंट येत असेल आणि त्या सबस्टिट्यूएंटवरती परत सबस्टिट्यूएंट नसतील तर ते सिम्पल सबस्टिट्यूएंट. पण मेन चेनच्या कार्बनवरचा सबस्टिट्यूएंट हायड्रोजन रिप्लेस करून सबस्टिट्यूएंट आला आणि त्याच्यावरती परत ब्रांचिंग कुठं दिसलं तुम्हाला, कट्स दिसले, तर दे आर कन्सिडर्ड ॲज कॉम्प्लेक्स सबस्टिट्यूएंट. Okay, so in next lecture we are going to discuss how we nomenclate the molecules with complex substituent and molecules containing double bond and triple bond. Okay, so hope you understand till now. Okay, good.